Another thing that we do with checkboxes often is check for matches, either for an exact match or to a partial match. And here's how we can do that. Now there are 5 checkboxes, and so the way we match is we provide a pattern in an array the way we have here. So this pattern is false, true, false, true, false. And so in order to match, it has to, here we're looking at a full match. The buttons have to be exactly that. So what would that look like? Well, remember, false is unclicked, true is clicked, false is unclicked, true is clicked, false is unclicked. So we would do that, and we click match all, and it's a match. And it's a match because it goes through here, and it's using, again, remember this is going to go from 0 through 4 in terms of our check. So we first look at the 0th button, that's this one, and if it's checked is not equal to the pattern here, then we set full match to false. So we start off up here with full match being true. If we ever find a place where there's not a match, we set it to false. And then right here, we're just reporting it's a match or no match. But here's where you would put the code of stuff you wanted to do. I mean, suppose if there's a match, you wanted to go to another page, then you'd have the code here that would take you to another page, or you know, something like that. If you had code here that if you had a full match, it meant they got a point for that particular item on a quiz or an exam. Then here is where you would keep track of that. You know, you would store the point that they get, or add it to a sum or something like that. So again, when we show you these patterns, the stuff you do is just here to provide something that you can see, but this could be replaced with anything you want to do in case it's a full match, or what you want to do if it's not a match. Now that we can just take a look at what happens if I do that with button 3 and I match all, you notice that it says no match because, okay, button 1 is not checked, so it's checked will be false. False and false will be, that works. This one is checked, so that's true, that works. But this one is checked, so checked here will be true, but the corresponding place in the pattern is false. And so because they're not equal, we drop down here and we set full match to false. So that's how we do a full match. Now sometimes we are interested in seeing if we match some, even if we don't match all. Let's see how that might work. In fact, I'm just going to clear this first, and I'm going to click match sum. And here it tells me there are 2 items that matched. It doesn't tell me which 2. We could do that too, and we'll look at techniques a little later to help that happen. But for right now, let's look at this. So if we look at this pattern, it's true, true, false, true, false. So to get full credit, if you want to think of that, if this were testing a quiz or an exam question, we would say true, true, leave that blank because that's false, true, and leave that blank because it's false. And if I say match sum, it says there were 5 items that matched. And since there are only 5 buttons, that means we had a full match. But suppose I click that as well. Then I match sum. There are 4 items that matched. So that would mean that I would only get 4 out of 5. So that would be 80% for that particular question, maybe, is the way that could happen. Again, this does the counting. And here's where we're just reporting the number of items that matched. Here's where you would put the thing that would calculate how many points they got for that particular question. Perhaps you're giving 5 points for questions, so they would only get 4 points for this one. And if I clicked that and unclicked that, oh boy, then I'd only get two points if that's what we were doing. Again, this is here kind of as a placeholder. I mean, we have to show it doing something over here, but this highlighted part is where you would put your own code if you wanted to do something using the number of items that matched. And so now you know how to, excuse me for that, now you know how to look for full matches. That is, if you want a particular pattern on the buttons, this pattern gives you a full match. And If you want to do something with partial matches, and this is really good for multiple multiple guess is what the way you used to think of it as quiz. I mean, multiple items, and you can have something that says click all that apply. Then this is how you could automatically grade a question like that by comparing. You could have here the pattern that it should be, and you can compare it against the pattern that the student entered. So those are useful patterns to know.